You can create your own fire. You can create your own motivation and inspiration by creating your own fire list. What are the things that I can do to get me motivated, on fire, and inspired right now? So for me, fasting is one of those things. Ice plunge, cold shower, those are those things that keep me on fire. Always, those things have to do with pushing yourself hard and doing the opposite of seeking the easy, comfortable route. It's not sleeping in, it's waking up earlier. It's not eating more, it's eating less. It's pushing yourself harder at the gym, not less. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Rising Father podcast. I'm Chris Rodack. I am 40 hours into a fast. I did the Arnold Classic this weekend with my son, my buddy Mark. His son, our sons are best friends. They've been best friends for years. So we went to the Arnold Classic in Columbus, Ohio for 3 nights, 4 days. Stayed at a hotel a couple miles away because staying at the hotel in Columbus was booked out like a year in advance, and any rooms that were available were like $600 a night or something crazy. And I wasn't gonna pay that. So we found a nice place, nice enough place, I'll say, and had a great time. Columbus, never been there, love it. That's one of my family's new favorite, like, staycations, if you want to call it, because it's only it's 3 hours away from Pittsburgh. So we'll go up there a couple times a year and stay in town. There's a beautiful market called North Market, and there's all kind of vendors and great food, desserts, and all kind of stuff you can get there. And then you can go to the convention center. So every year the Arnold Classic is held there. The Arnold Classic is one of the biggest bodybuilding and powerlifting fitness events in the world. All happens there in Columbus, Ohio, once a year, usually in February, end of February. So there's a lot of different powerlifting meets, like the Mountain from the Game of Thrones was there. Like you see WWE people walking around, fitness influencers. Like anyone who's anyone in fitness goes there. And they have a booth, or they have a presentation, or they're on stage, or they're lifting. And like that Mitch Hooper, I think his name is, he was there. And like I said, the Mountain, and just tons and tons of people. So people will be breaking world records for deadlifts, squats. Then they also do the Arnold Classic bodybuilder competition, which is on the same level as Mr. Olympia. Because the guy who won the Olympia last year came in second, Samson Dauda. He won Mr. Olympia, and then he came in second place at the Arnold Classic. So everyone there is like top notch. We didn't see that one. Because you have to pay extra for the ticket, and we have our kids, and we're like, is it going to be worth it? Are they going to like it? So on the last day, whenever they had that bodybuilding final, we walked up, and I was like, hey, how much are tickets to hop in there? Because it's a 2-hour event. The finals for bodybuilding are 2 hours, and we already missed 45 minutes of it. So I was like, if it's like, $10-15, we'll suck it up, pay it, watch an hour of it, and go. It was like $110 per person. I was like, holy crap, we're not doing that. So we just walked around and, got some ice cream in Columbus and had a good night. But it was a beautiful time. And I want to talk to you guys about my experience there, why I went, the lessons I learned, just stories from the weekend, and then also what happened when I got home with my son, and just, lessons and stories about fatherhood. So I went there because it's something we did last year, and me and Nathan had an awesome time. We left inspired and motivated. You see the strongest people in the world. There's martial arts and medieval knights fighting, and I probably even did a podcast last year right after I did the Arnold and talked about similar things. But you go there and you get inspired. As I was walking around, I saw unbelievable brands crushing it. Worldwide brands, how they were doing their marketing, their funnels, how they're collecting leads. And I was analyzing my Rising Father and what I could do. And I said, hey, I could be here next year and I could set up a booth, but what would I do? What would I advertise? And what my free thing you got to give away? Because you got to give away something free. You can't believe how much money these brands are spending here. It was the biggest crowd I've ever been in. The Columbus Convention Center is massive. Can fit thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And on Saturday, you could barely move. So there had to have been, I don't know, 100,000 people in there, at least. I'm not exaggerating. You could not move, and it's a giant convention center. And then you go up to these booths like Jocko and Celsius and Mutant and Animal and all these different fitness and supplement brands, and they're just giving you free product. I mean, you don't need to pack creatine, protein bars, protein drinks, pre-workouts. You could just get unlimited anything for the 4 days you're there. Everyone's giving away full cans of energy drinks. Some of them just have, gallon jugs where you just fill up cups. Everyone's giving away protein bars and shaker cups and anything you want. So you don't need to pack any health anything there. They had smelling salts, which I tried last year and learned my lesson. And then they had mushroom gummies. They had nut butters. I tried some different nut butters, grabbed some of those. Tech things, coaching stuff, anything you could want fitness, health-wise is there. And they just give it away all for free, sample sizes, but also some of them full cans. So you don't need to pack any of that stuff, and it's amazing. You just spend the whole time walking around. But how much money these guys spend is crazy. Because I figured some of these companies gave away 10,000 bottles of their product or maybe more. Just a constant line. Some of the great products I had were a product called Muscle Egg. If I can give you a couple ideas and shout them out. Muscle Egg, we ordered a couple gallon jugs of that. It's liquid egg whites that taste unbelievable. Different flavors like mocha and birthday cake. Even my son Nathan went up there and he kept on wanting to go back to the Muscle Egg tent to get free samples. So we ordered jugs that I said, hey, if my son is going to be begging me to have liquid egg whites, I'm going to get gallons of this thing. That is amazing protein. So there's the different greens drinks we had. But anyway, yeah, awesome time. You see the strongest people in the world. This guy was squatting. We watched a guy squat 1,045 pounds. We saw this guy squat 600 pounds for 10 reps, which was crazy. Ladies benching 300 plus pounds. Saw a guy deadlift 900 some pounds. The mountain was in a special spot trying to break a world record, but you need like a special pass to get there, but we could hear people screaming. He was going for, I think, 1,100 and something pounds. He didn't get it. But you go there for inspiration. And if you're a business, you go there to get your name out. So that's why next year I'll have a little Rising Father tent. And like I said, I don't know. I have to decide what I'm going to do. I don't know what the product is I'm going to advertise. If I'm just going to do a general, hey, here's Rising Father, subscribe to the podcast, here's a book, here's a journal, or if I'll try to advertise the Men of Fire program or Ignite 30, or if I'll have something else by then. I'm in the process of making a book. I got a really good idea for a book while I was there. I said, hey, I've been wanting to make progress on a book, so I'm going to start a book, maybe we'll give away a book. I don't know, but I'll think about it. And then what is the free thing I'm going to give away? Like I got to have the ability to give away 10,000 free somethings. So I got to make sure I have that ready. So I'll do that next year. But you go there to get inspired, motivated, see the best in the world. It's just great. Just love it. And then you get to go out to Columbus and have some great food. The one thing I'll say about Columbus, no knock on Columbus. I like I said, it's one of our family's favorite places. Great product. Okay. Not great service. Sorry if you're in Columbus. And I say that after spending 4 nights in Nashville with my wife. We went to Nashville for 3 nights, so the Wood Brothers at the Caverns. I think I did a podcast after that when we came back. And every single service person you talk to, from the airport to a cashier to gas station, was unbelievable, selfless service. Meaning you went up to them and the expectation wasn't on me as the consumer to make them happy or to make their job easier. They bent over backwards to make sure I was taken care of in Nashville. In Columbus, I felt like every person that was waiting on us was inconvenienced and wanted us to make their life easier or give them a 30% tip for handing me a sandwich over a counter. Like completely different customer service experience from Nashville to Columbus. Great product both places. Okay, in Nashville, I had the best barbecue probably I've ever had in my life. Every single meal we had was great in Nashville. The music was great, but also the service was amazing. The people were very selfless and humble. In Columbus, product was great. Food was great. Everything we ate was really, really good. Amazing atmosphere. But the energy you got from the people who waited on you were like, why are you here? Or you need to do this because you're in my restaurant. Whereas it didn't matter me and my wife went to some really fancy restaurants in Nashville, and because it was a romantic husband-wife getaway, and it didn't matter how fancy it was, how much money we spent. The people waiting on us were still like, "What can we do for you?" Whereas in Columbus, it was kind of like, "What can you do for us?" I don't know. It was odd. The very first night we went there, we were looking for a place, and we called this restaurant, because a lot of places were packed and busy, and there was lines because of the Arnold. And this guy answers the phone, sassy sounding guy, and I'm like, "Hey, is there a wait?" He's like, "Not now." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "What does that mean?" The way you said it had me really confused. I was like, "Does that mean there is, or there isn't, or there's going to be?" I said, "So there's no wait?" He's like, "Not now, but there's about to be." Just like that. Some there's walking, laughing because we can see the place. I said, "Okay, well, we're going to be there in like 2 minutes. Can you put our name in?" He's like, "We don't do that. You can try to come, but I can't guarantee anything." So I just laugh. I'm like, "All right, bud." We show up to the place anyway. The guy who I talked to on the phone is there at the counter, accepting us in. Looks at us, looks down, doesn't say anything. I think he knew we were the ones he talked to. Doesn't say anything to us, hands a waitress the menus, points to a table, and then she takes us over. And then we wait for 15 minutes for them to get our drink. Mark, the guy I was with, he was like, "What's going on now?" And then she came over. So he was in the restaurant industry, so he was like, "Just let us know." He's like, I'm not trying to, offend you. He's like, "But is the kitchen running slow? If so, just let us know and we can go somewhere else." She's like, "No, nothing's going on at all. It's perfectly fine." I was like, "Okay." So that's just what it's going to be like here. Great food. We ended up getting fried chicken, and it tasted amazing. Like I said, product was great. But we waited forever, and the people were not happy to see us to spend money at their business. It's just odd. And now that I am a business owner, and I've run a couple of different businesses, some successful, some not, you have to do every single thing possible to increase your chances of success. You have to constantly be scraping away and just being like, "Okay, I got to optimize this. I got to optimize this. I got to optimize this." So when you go into a business where they're not optimizing every single thing possible, you're just like, how do these guys stay open? You ever go to some of those businesses or like a restaurant and you're just like, how do these people make money? I don't understand it. It's got to be a front for something. How are these people in business? No one wants to see you. The product isn't good. Takes forever to get it. Every step of the there's no sign outside. You don't know where it is. Every step of the process, they're complacent and don't care. And then whenever you finally visit a business where it's over the top, serving you, just so grateful for your business, so happy you're there, doing everything they possibly can to make you happy. It's so refreshing. I remember it was the same experience. I didn't think I was going to talk about this long, but I am. It was the same experience when I went to Sandals, Jamaica with my wife on our honeymoon. First time I've ever been to an exotic place like that. And you go in there, you step outside the van, you see the retreat or the resort, and they've got scented, warm, wet towelettes that they walk up to you and dab your face with, and they hand you a drink, and you walk out and you see the blue ocean, and you can't take 10 steps without someone asking if you want something. If anything's wrong at all with whatever you have, they'll replace it for free, and they'll do whatever they can do to make you happy. And then we took the airport home after a week of that. I think we stopped in like Atlanta or something, and there's the airport employees, and I was like, oh, we're back to the U.S. We're back to reality here. Not that all the U.S. is like that. I just said Nashville was great, but it like depends on where you go. And you know, you walk up to get some food at the airport, and the employees are like staring at their phone. You have to like knock on the table for them to look up to you. Then they look annoyed, and just so different. And everyone has the choice of how they're going to run their business, and the people who hire those people don't always know or care that their employees are acting like that. So anyway, went down a rabbit hole with customer service and businesses, but there are some main lessons here I want to get to, and that is put yourself in situations to motivate yourself, to inspire yourself. Like that was one of the main reasons I went there. I wanted to be inspired and motivated, and I was. When I was there watching these guys squat all this weight, deadlifting, benching, I'm not a power lifter. I have no ambition to be a power lifter, but when I was there watching them do it, I wanted to do it. If I tried to deadlift 700 pounds right now, I know my newly repaired bicep tendon would just rip out of my shoulder. And, but nevertheless, I still wanted to do it. Like I still wanted to get out there, and I wanted to leave the Arnold and go to a gym and start lifting weights. But it was good I took a rest. It was good I rested. Because when I came back after the Arnold and went to the gym in the morning, I was hitting PRs with my upper body. I was like, thank you. I'm glad I just forced myself to not lift for 3 days. But when I was there, I felt so motivated, so inspired. Nathan was so motivated and inspired. And we just loved walking around the whole time, getting samples, talking to people, meeting, these famous people that were ripped and shredded. Like the biggest guys you could ever see were just walking around. There was arm lifting championships were there. This one guy, apparently his name's Hellboy from Germany. It's hard to describe. His left arm is the size of a chicken leg. His right arm is the size of someone's thigh. I don't know what he's doing. I was going to say injecting, but I don't know. Like, I don't know what he's doing, but his right arm is massive. Look him up, Hellboy. At least that's what they called him. He lost. Somehow he lost. But that was exciting. We got to see that. And then we went to some of the different brands, and they had competitions. Like their marketing, it's all a marketing funnel. It's like, what can you do to get high traffic in to your system so that you can get leads, then you convert those leads to products. So like the thing this brand was doing, that a bunch of, like Red Bull did it, this brand called Mutant did it, was let's do a competition to see how long you can hold 2 protein bags out to the side. So their competition was in each of your arms, you have to hold these 15-pound protein bags out straight to the side. And then whoever wins gets their name, gets recognition, gets his bag of merch. And then they collect your information. That's the lead. They collect your information in that process. And the entire weekend, there was at least 100-person line to do this, including us. Because Nathan saw it. He said, I want to do that. So I said, sure. For the kids, they had a 5-pound bag. So we wait in line for an hour. Nathan's excited at first, and he gets nervous. He's like, Dad, should we do this? I'm like, yep, dude, we invested time. We're going to do it. So Nathan walks up, and he's all pumped. And if you follow me on Instagram, you can see the video of it. I took a video of it and posted it. Nathan steps up. Everyone's cheering, screaming for it. The Mutant staff, they're hyping him up. They're screaming. He gets the record and does 1 minute and 57, which arms straight out to the side, 1 minute and 57 seconds. And he gets into first place. And there were other guys there who were just huge, roided up bodybuilder guys, holding their arms out, who got, I think the record was 136 before he got 157. And I'm right behind him. And so we're screaming, cheering. He's pumped up. Everyone's giving him high fives. He's on fire. He's flexing and feels amazing. And then I'm behind him, and I'm like, oh, well, I have to do this. I didn't want to do it. Like, this is not what I've been preparing for. This is not what I've been training for. I'm coming off I'm 2 months away from a shoulder surgery. My shoulders are my weak point right now. Like my right shoulder, even though my shoulder surgery was 3 years ago, it's never going to be the same. It's still, I just have to accept it. It's not the same. It just dies. Even in yoga, I can just feel it's not the same. It doesn't have the same strength. And then my left shoulder is nowhere near where it will be if it's normal. But I was like, well, I could either make an excuse and kind of weasel my way out of this and say, no, I'm not going to do it because I'm embarrassed and I'm my ego, or I can just do it in front of my son and he can learn a lesson and watch me not do well. So that was what I decided to do. I said, the better thing for me to do right here is for Nathan to watch his dad not do well and be okay with it. So that's literally what I was thinking of right then. And there's 100 people around me watching this happen. And I was like, this is going to be a little embarrassing. My ego is going to take a hit. I'm not going to tell anyone about the surgery because I'm not going to try to cover my ass. I'm just going to let it happen. So I did it. I lasted 44 seconds with the 15-pound bags. 44 seconds. Like I said, the record was like a minute 36 or something. And my shoulders just died. Even before I did it, I thought I would be able to go longer than that. Like I was like, oh, maybe something will happen. I'll get the record. Like I had these hopes and fantasies of maybe I'll get the record. Nope. My arm started to shake after 10 seconds. I'm nowhere near it. So I lasted 44 seconds. There's these old ladies cheering. Like, come on, you can do it. So that was embarrassing, but it's okay. And then when I got home, I tried it with 5-pound weights. I could only last a minute 20. So I was like, oh, well, Nathan did 5-pound bags. Maybe I could only last a minute 20. That's how, and Nathan's a little 11-year-old boy with 11-year-old boy shoulders, did a minute 56 or something. I lasted a minute 20, and then my shoulders just, boom, they just died. So whatever's in there needs to get stronger, and I'm going to continue to work on that. It's not like doing dumbbell presses over your head. It's like holding weight straight out to the side, parallel to the floor. So that was unbelievable, and what I loved about my son that entire weekend was he was just fearless. Like he went up to every single person and said hello, asked for their autograph or wanted to shake their hand, wanted to get interviewed. Every challenge he saw, he wanted to do. And this has been a work in progress. Like I've told you guys many times, like one of the things that I have always done with my kids is constantly had them go do things on their own, talk to a different adults, order food, blah, 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 advocate for themselves. Like we went to the North Market. I was upstairs where I could see him. And I said, Nathan, here's my credit card. I want you to go downstairs, get your food, order, use your credit card, talk to the adult, come back up all by yourself. He's like, okay, no problem. I've been slowly having him do more and more of those things. And it was so great to see him over these 4 days, just walking around, talking to anybody, just completely fearless. And I loved it. I told him that. I was like, man, you're fearless. I love it. He's like, thanks, Dad. And this guy was the host of one of the powerlifting competitions, was this grandpa guy, but he was dressed just crazy and hilarious, and he's a huge figure in front of thousands of people. And Nathan's like, hey, Dad, I want to go get a selfie of him. I was like, all right, go ahead. Grabbed my phone, walked up to him, asked for a selfie of it. Like I would have been terrified to do that as a kid, but he's just fearless right now, and I love it. So we came home and, had a great weekend, and we're so inspired, so on fire, so motivated. And then, you're home, and it's different because it's quiet. Like right now I'm in my podcast studio in my office, and it's just quiet. There's no sounds of weights and barbells and things crashing to the ground. There's far less motivation and inspiration. Yet I still have to get things done. Yet I still have big goals that I must hit. So what do? How do I get that motivation back? Well, I need something to light my fire, to keep my fire going. We call that in our Men of Fire program your fire list. It's what do you need to keep yourself on fire, motivated, inspired. Eventually we want to get to the point where we don't need those things, where we can do the thing anyway, but it's good to have things in your toolkit to keep yourself motivated. For me, one of those things is fasting. As weird as it is. Whenever I'm fasting, I feel more motivated, more inspired. So right now, like I said, I'm 40 hours into my fast. My original plan was to do a 3-day fast. Might go to 4 days. We'll see. And like, I was like, okay, I set these big goals while I was there. I want to hit these things. Nathan set big goals with me, but I'm not in that environment anymore. So I have to create the environment. And that's what you can do. You can create your own fire. You can create your own motivation and inspiration by creating your own fire list. And that's what are the things that I can do to get me motivated, on fire, and inspired right now? And always those things have to do with pushing yourself hard and doing the opposite of seeking the easy, comfortable route. It's not sleeping in, it's waking up earlier. It's not eating more, it's eating less. It's pushing yourself harder at the gym, not less. So for me, fasting, it's one of those things. Ice plunge, cold shower, those are those things that keep me on fire. So I'm doing a 3-day fast, and then I told Nathan I was doing that, and he was like, okay, Dad, I'll do a 2-week fast. The most I've ever done is 7 days, and I did that as a 36-year-old, not as a 11-year-old. I never fasted. I don't think I ever went more than 8 hours without eating until I was in my 30s. And Nathan's like, I'll do a 2-week fast. He's done a 25-hour fast before because he watched me do the 7-day fast. This was last year or the year before. No, actually, that was 3 years ago because I just watched that podcast. I did a podcast with Nathan 3 years ago, and he was just finished a 25-hour fast. So Nathan, as a 8-year-old boy, did a 25-hour fast. And he has that memory, so he knows he can do it. So he said, I'm going to do a 2-week fast. I was like, it's a little bit long. Let's back up a little bit. Maybe a day fast. Let's see how we do with a day. And then we ended up compromising on 2 days. So Sarah's making pulled pork tonight. So pulled pork is one of his favorite foods, and she's playing that. So he's going to start after the pulled pork tonight and go for 2 more days, which means that I can either stop tomorrow at 3 days when I planned I would, or I can just extend it another day and do the full 4 days with him. So I'm just going to probably extend it another day, if he can make it. If he can go 2 days, then I'll go the extra day with him. If he ends early, I'll end early with him as long as I get to 3 days. So 3 days will be tomorrow night. If I do 4 days, it'll be Thursday night, the next night. But whatever he chooses to do, I'll do it along with him so we can suffer together. And that brings me to one of the main points I wanted to talk about, and that is what I teach my kids is not nearly as important as how I teach it to them. I can tell them to eat healthy, but if I do the opposite, it means nothing. I can tell Nathan that I fasted once or that fasting is good for you, but if I don't do it with him, if he doesn't watch me do it, it means nothing. I can tell him that discipline is the key to success, but if I do not live a disciplined life, it means nothing. The words we say lose their meaning every day we do not back them up with action. So what we teach them means not nearly as much as how we teach it to them. So we have to walk the walk. We can't just talk the talk. We went to the Arnold, we got inspired, we got motivated. That was the what. It was, okay, what do we want to do? That was kind of shifting our perspective and guiding our missile. Now we get home, it's like, okay, well, now we need to push ourselves. Now we need to implement habits, create systems, and keep on working, keep on scratching away at becoming the person we want to be by action, not talking about it, not saying tomorrow, but doing it. That's why I immediately said, okay, I'm going to fast. I'm inspired, I'm motivated. I'm not going to just talk about it. I'm going to fast right now. I'm going to suffer right now. So boom, started that. It'll go to, as I talk right now, my stomach is starting to like gurgle. I felt amazing 1 hour ago. Like when I started the podcast, I felt great. And as I'm talking, it's the hunger starting to kick in. And that's when it happens. That's what happens on these fasts, is you go through phases of feeling amazing and euphoria and clear-headed and tons of energy. Then you go through phases where you're tired and dead. And when I did the 6 and 7 day fasts, it happens a lot. Extreme hunger to no hunger. So like when you feel great and you feel like you're not hungry, you're like, oh, I could do this for 10 days. And then the hunger pangs come and you're like, okay, I could, I need to end right now. And then you have to battle those thoughts. You have to battle those thoughts back. No, I'm not going to end now. I'm going to keep on going. I can keep going. And every time you say I can keep going and you don't give in, you feel a little stronger. You feel a little stronger. So After saying I'm going to do a 3-4 day fast, if I give in now, I know it's going to make me feel weak. But I could. I could shut this computer off. I could go upstairs and get a snack, not tell anyone. There's no cameras. No one would know. But I would know. And that's the thing that matters. It's me. I would know, and it would make me feel weak. And the last thing I'm going to end with is when I was journaling this morning, a thought that came to me. So I worked out. I came home, took a shower, and spent about 15 minutes with my wife and kids. And I was like, I got to get something done real quick. Sometimes I spend more time with my family before they go. Sarah goes off to work and the kids go off to school. It just depends on what I have to get done. But I always make sure I have one-on-one time and family time with them. No screen time with them before they leave for the day. I get that luxury because I work from home. When I had my 9 to 5, it was like wake up, do the morning routine, rush to work, and then you see them when you get home. But I set up my schedule now to where I can spend time with them. So I did that, came downstairs, and started journaling because I felt like my head was a little scrambled. I had to get my thoughts out on paper. So I started journaling. I was happy I did it. Became more clear-headed as I was doing it. And a thought came to my head. I could hear my wife upstairs talking to Nathan, talking to Lauren. Nathan and Lauren were sitting on a couch watching TV or playing video games or reading or something. And Sarah was in the kitchen making their lunches, asking them what they wanted to eat, packing it for them, going back and forth. And I could hear them talking to each other. I could hear dishes clinking, the sound of the TV. It reminded me of white noise. If you go on YouTube, you can search different types of white noise. There's bar, crowd, white noise. There's stadium white noise. Any type of white noise you want, you can find it. It's just that ambient, just like a scene. The bar, crowd, white noise is if you just took a recorder and recorded the bar for 30 minutes. You do that and you get the bar, crowd, white noise. For me, what I was hearing this morning was like family white noise. It's like family 2025, March 2025, Chris Rodack's family white noise. And it was beautiful. So I was journaling and I wrote that down and I was just listening to it for a couple minutes of the sounds of my kids' voices, the sound of my wife's voices, the clinking of dishes. I was like, I can just capture this moment right now. I can just capture this moment. If I just had a recording of this, for the rest of my years, like 40 years from now, when I'm in my 70s, I could just take a little time capsule back and just hear, okay, what did life sound like when you were 37? And that's what's going to happen. They're going to grow up. My wife's going to age. My kids are going to age. I'll have grandkids. And if I could just time travel back to this moment of when I'm 37 years old, March of 2025, and just hear what's happening, I would treasure it more. So thinking like that, shifting my perspective, made me treasure the moment more, made me more present. So I stopped journaling, and I went upstairs, and I spent another 10 minutes with them, kissed my wife off to work, and said, well, I can get the thing I wanted to get done later. I spent some time with my kids, and then came back down and kept on working. But it made me really value them in that moment and shifted my perspective. It made me really present with them and really hone in on who they are and the importance of that moment. Like right now, at some point in my life, I will give anything just to come back and feel them again at this age and hear them again at this age and want to talk to them at this age and hear those sounds. The sounds of my house when my kids are 11 and 9 and my wife is 37. Be very different than the sounds of my house when I'm 70, my wife's 70, and my kids are in their 40s, not living here. Just the sound, the white noise of my house will be completely different. So I got to shift my perspective and soak it in right now.